Welcome everyone to the February monthly mindset Q&A. Thank you all for being here. For those who may be new to this, pretty straightforward. Well, actually, before I do that, let me introduce myself. My name is Desi. I go by Advent. I run Cerulean Mind Academy for those who may not be aware as well. Essentially how these Q&As work, pretty straightforward. For 45 minutes or so, you guys can ask me literally whatever you want, and I'll give you tips, techniques, strategy, all that stuff to better help whatever problem you have. And then the last 10 to 15 minutes, I'll just share something that I personally want to share with you guys with this specific session. And yeah, that's pretty much it. For those who are here, and of course, for those who are seeing the replay, as always, do the best that you can to be fully present here so you can pick up everything that people are saying, questions that they ask. There could be one thing in this entire session that just changes everything for you. So just make sure to do your best to be mindful and to listen attentively. And with that being said, yeah, let the questions rip. You guys can come off mute if you want to. If not, you're more than welcome to type in the chat and I'll start answering questions.
Okay, I'll start. I just had a question about fibs. Am I allowed to ask about that? Just like a really brief, it's not anything detailed, just
I would say depending the question on fibs, I will answer it.
No, I just wanted to see how you actually draw it from the top candle, from the bottom candle to the whatever candle you want to attach it to. I just want to make sure I'm doing it right because it looks different from the video I'm watching when I do it, but I'm not sure if it's...
I would say for that specific question, I'll answer it offline, since this is, how do I put this in not a nice way. Basically, I would be giving away information that's paid for free. So I'll tell you how to do it in that specific section for it.
Okay, yeah, okay. Yeah, that makes sense. Got it.
Yeah, just so we can be respectful to the creator of it. But I'll make a note of that. And as soon as we're done, I'll post a quick little 20-second vid. Do you have what time frame? I would say the only thing that I'll really say is what time frame are you drawing it on? Because I draw mine on the 5-minute.
Yeah, I was doing it on the 5-minute too, but I just wasn't sure if it didn't look the same as the one that I'm watching. So yeah, I don't know. I just wasn't sure if I'm doing it right.
Got it. Yeah. So when we're done here, I'll send the video and let me know if that makes more sense. And we'll go from there.
But maybe it's because the one I'm watching is on the daily. Could that be making the lines look a lot different?
It's definitely possible.
Okay.
Dion asked, how do you stay consistent? Can you elaborate a little more on that question if possible? If not, I'll kind of just go through the entire thing, but because it's not necessarily I guess it is a simple question to answer. It's just how much time do we have? Yeah, Dion, if you can maybe give a more specific question, how do I stay consistent in what specific context? Consistent, consistently profitable, consistently attentive in my trading, consistently practicing risk management. Is there anything specific? If not, I guess I can answer it the best I can with the way you presented it. Consistently profitable. I guess I'll answer this question in parts. So being consistently profitable, I would consider that, I guess to give an analogy, we can use consistently profitable as like an attic of the house, correct? However, to get to the attic, we need to have a foundation, we need to have stairs, we need to have all that stuff to reach that point. So for me, there are several things. One thing is having rules. Rules that are going to help you remember your bad habits and also your strengths, things that work for you, things that don't work, and stuff like that. So for example, in the aspect of having rules, for myself, one of my worst practices or habits was literally waking up and taking a trade. So I'm not sure if you can see it, but literally my first rule is I don't trade while I'm tired. And my second rule, I don't trade in bed. Because when I used to trade in bed and as soon as I wake up or when I'm tired, I would always mess up. And what helps with that is, of course, getting proper rest. For me, I have a morning routine that I have to complete before I trade at all. If I don't complete that, if I miss like a step or one of the components, then I don't trade until I fully complete it. Because when I don't do my routine properly and the way I do it, I'm tired, I'm not focused, I'm not centered. And when you're trading, you want to make sure that you're as focused, as ready, you're not hungry, you're not thirsty, you have everything ready, you got your water, you ate already, you're awake, you're ready, you're not sleepy, all that stuff. And you're prepared, your watch list is there, you know exactly where you're going to trade that day. All those things come with the territory, I would say, of like being profitable, because we have to have a system in place that's going to allow us to be that. And I'll touch more on this later because some people ask similar questions, but in different ways. But in the sense of like being profitable, you have to build the foundation first and the proper system. And the money comes from that. You don't get profitable and then you build like, oh, cool, now I'm going to go to bed early or X, Y, and Z. Like all the money is made from the process and the system itself. Not the other way around. And let me know if that answered your question, because that question is like really complex and like each little individual part I can like go really, really deep into. Cool. Now let me ask you this. I guess I'll switch up the script a little bit in this specific session. For you, what are some things that you think that you may be doing that's helping you not be consistently profitable, but what things do you think or are you doing or not doing that are putting you on the path of being profitable or not? Patience and larger timeframes. Now, patience in the sense of that your lack of patience or that you are patient? Got it. And just to be on the same page, you're saying that you are being patient and you are waiting on your setups, or that you are having trouble being patient? All right, cool, perfect. Yeah, patience is going to be one of the biggest things, and definitely using the higher time frames to get an overall feel of whatever it is that you are trading, like how it's moving, like following the trend, not fighting the trend, stuff like that. So yeah, that's definitely great. Keep on practicing your patience, and when your setups are there, take them. That's great. Cool. Swift Plays asked, how would you go about finding a setup intraday, whether it was charted beforehand or not? There's two things, well, maybe like three things that I would say to that. Using scanners definitely works to finding setups intraday. For example, let me just use the desktop. Actually, let me do this. Let me know if you guys can see my screen.
Yes.
Cool. Let me move this over. So there's different things that you can do. One is I'm not sure if any of you have your own playbook. If you don't know what a playbook is, definitely let me know in the chat and I'll answer that in a bit. So there's several things that you can do. If you have a scanner, for those who do know, there's this one here that my friend made for me. Basically, you literally just put whatever tickers you want. It tells you if the setup is present on that time frame. So right now let's go on the daily. So on the daily, it'll tell us if it's lit up. That means that setup is present on the specific ticker. So Pfizer says 3-1. So I can go here and then it'll be right there. Boom, 3-1 setup, lit up. But the same thing, if I'm trading on the intraday, I can go on a 30-minute time frame if I want to look for setups there. So on IWM, it says there's a shooter on the 30-minute. So if I am trading IWM, I'll go here. Cool, all right, there is a shooter. Once it breaks, I'm going to take it short. Another thing you can do is, like I mentioned, finding setups intraday. I'll say another way to answer this would be to having a playbook in the sense of like, every time you're reviewing the charts and you look for specific setups, it's just knowing what they look like and then what you're going to do when they come about. So for example, at least I'd imagine almost everybody here trades a strat. And for those who don't know, a hammer or a reverse hammer or a shooter is an actionable signal. And when we get an actionable signal, that's pretty much telling us that the price is going to more than likely move in the direction of the specific signal. So in this case, let's say for IWM, we have a shooter. So we already know that once this breaks the low, we're going to go short. So that can be a possible setup there. We also know about 2-1s, 3-1s, all those other good ones. Now, maybe to answer this another way as well, or a little more deeper, is knowing when to take the setup. You know, if you're on the 3-minute, just because there might be like a 2-1 or a 2-1 on the 1-minute or the 3-minute, whatever it may be, doesn't mean you should take it. Because to me, there's just a lot of noise. To me, it kind of just goes back to just having just knowing this very specific setups that you would take. For example, myself, I usually look for setups that are near broadening formations, and then I just take them from there. It's ultimately just getting into collecting data from your charts and seeing what trades you will take. For example, let's say intraday on IWM on 15-minute. We gap up and then they kind of just kill it down all day. Clearly, we're on a downtrend for the most part. Let's check something out. So this specific day, we gapped up, they killed it down, the 1 hour reversed. This was the 1 hour two down. Then we go on the 15-minute. So the 1 hour triggered here. Let's see what the 4 hour tells us. Let me get rid of this real quick. So the 4 hour triggered here. That's a little low. So the 1 hour triggered here when it broke, when this 3 broke below. And then I'm like, all right, cool. We're on a downtrend. So double inside, if you see a double inside or triple inside, I usually take those trades. So in this example, the 1 hour triggered below, cool. Now I'm waiting for one of my setups. This is a TTO on the 15-minute, but it probably look a little cleaner on the 5. But let's assume I'm on the 15-minute. We get the move down. They bring it back up a little bit, kind of chop for a little bit, and then double inside. It looks like they brought it up, then killed it down. You would have taken the 3 down off this inside bar, and then just kept on writing it down until it reversed on you, or until the higher time frames reversed. Let me know if that answers your question on like finding trades intraday. And also real quick, before you actually, well, as you're answering that, it's also figuring out what type of trader you are. Like for me, I prefer trade taking reversals. I don't like continuations. So, you know, if there's a 2 down here, then another 2 down. Some people like taking the continuations. Me personally, I would wait until the reversal. I like to get in the beginning of the move as opposed to like in the middle of it.
But this move would have, after the triple inside bar, that would have been a continuation down, right?
You mean after the double right here?
Yeah, if you would have gotten in, that's a continuation.
You mean if I get on the 2?
Like if you get on, like after the 1, like the break of the 1, the second one bar, that
Right.
would just be also a continuation.
Hold on. Let me just zoom in.
Or are you saying you wouldn't get in after the
No,
2?
so right here, I would get in. So it went 2 up, failed, came back, and turned into a 3 down. So I would take the 3 down. Oh, wait, never mind. I see what you mean. Although technically not technically, this is a reversal because it went up, triggered a reversal up, but then it reversed back down when it became a 3.
Okay, so you would have waited for it to become a 3 before you get into the trade?
Yeah.
Okay.
So here it goes a 2 up, reverses to the upside, but we're still overall bearish. And then I'd take the 3 down.
Okay.
And Swift, let me know if that answered your question. Cool. You could also use like Thinkorswim. They have scanners that you can look up. For those who don't know, Strat finally got back online, so you can use the website again to look for Strat setups. I think on any time frame last I checked, but it was a while ago. But yeah, Strat is definitely good to look for setups. You can input like if you want to look for 2 ones, regular ones, 3 ones, all that other good stuff. So we'll definitely be sure to use that. Runstrat.com.
I have a question.
Yep.
How do you know, or would you even know? I was doing a paper trade a couple days ago, I think, and I got in, and like the wicks were just crazy. So like I got triggered in, but then it went completely the other way and stopped me out immediately. How do you know like when you should avoid that? Like when the wicks are just so big that even if you get triggered in, it's scary because you'll just get stopped out. And if it was real money, then that would have been a big loss if that keeps happening over time.
You always want to look at the higher time frames and see what they're doing. I think on ES, it actually was a perfect example on Friday for me. Let me see. Oh, whoops, this is not the S&P. This This is the 1 hour. So let me take this off for now. So on this day, this was Friday. As soon as the 1 hour, so you always want to look at the higher time frames and see what they're doing. If the higher time frames above you are chopping inside, or like the inside bar, you're going to get chopped up on the smaller time frames. So for me, on this specific day, I was looking to take a trade on the 5, 15, and 30 minute, but the hour was still chopping inside. And I personally don't like to take a trade if the 1 hour is inside. So after I waited an entire hour for this to close, finally, well, this was still inside. And then I took the 212 down at the BF target here from the 1 hour. However, before I took that, let me highlight this to make it a little easier to find. This was market open, 10:30. So 10:30 hits, you get the inside hour. It's kind of just going back and forth between this zone. So personally, and when you see a lot of wicks on both sides, I usually just avoid that they're just killing both sides. And for me personally, even if it does reverse to the downside, it's not worth it, because more than likely, well, let me see if I can replay this. Let's go to 12:30. Maybe it'll show. No, before that. So the hour's inside. The 30 minute was inside, the inside 30, another inside 30. 15 minute, thankfully wasn't inside. But the 5 minute, it was still kind of just chopping sideways in this range. If you're a scalper, this is beautiful for you. You're living the dream. For me, I'm not a scalper, so I don't like this. But if more than 2 time frames above me are inside when I'm trading intraday, I'll just leave it alone. I'd rather just get the proper reversal or wait for a multi-time frame break. So let's say if the 30 minute, 1 hour, and 15 minute are going to trigger and get out of it and inside in the same direction, then I'll take that trade as well. But like in the 5 minute and like the 30 minute and 1 hour, they were inside. I'm not touching that until the higher one breaks, mainly the 1 hour, because you do not want to get caught in chop. If the 4 hours inside, I leave it alone. If the daily's inside, definitely leave it alone. Thankfully, we close as a hammer, but let me know if that answers your question.
Yeah, can you go back to the hour where there was a 212, I think you said?
Yeah, it was the next candle.
You said you took the 212 down. What did you mean by that?
Well, I took the trade down to the BF target. So this 1 hour here, this candle was trading inside. It rejected off this BF. And remember, the broader informations are always going to tell you what price wants, where price wants to go after it reverses off of it. So, and we get a setup here, 2-1 at a broader information. Price rejects off this BF here. Once it triggers, it's going to go down. It's going to go touch this one. And that's pretty much what it did. Take the 212 down, boom. And it's the target there.
So you got in at the break of the one, like,
Yeah, it took the break of the 1 and then took it down here.
okay, and then you got out at that broadening formation, or did you stay?
No, I got out of it. That was
Okay.
my target there.
Okay.
And then same thing happened again. They trigger it up and then they bring it back in. And then they bring it back up, back in, and then they finally broke above. And here we are now. Well, actually, here we are now.
And did you take the trade on the 1 hour, or did you go to the smaller time frames to take it?
No, I took it on the 1 hour.
Okay. All right, thank you.
It just requires a little more patience. Cool. Also, just to touch up on that for inside bars, just be mindful, because I do see a lot of people getting chopped up and like wondering why they're not making any money and doing the same mistakes again. If you see an inside day or inside 4 hour or both, personally, I would just avoid it. Unless you're a scalper and you excel in those trading conditions, more power to you. But if you find that you keep on messing up on choppy days, literally the daily or 4 hour will tell you if it's choppy or not. So just be mindful to that. Cool. More questions, please. You can come off mute. You can type it in the chat, whatever you guys want.
If you can hear me, I'm not sure my computer's acting up.
Right.
But quick thing, you have your trading rules. I saw that nice laminated situation there. Do you do anything else? Do you do exercises, breathing? Like I know you like your coffee, you like to eat, or you drink before you have everything set up. Is there anything mental that you do before you start?
Yeah, so my morning routine, after I get up, I listen to some music, do my affirmations. I stretch for a little bit. Then I do like a quick little workout just to wake me up. And then I eat, brush my teeth, all that good stuff. Make sure to drink, hydrate yourself. And then before I start trading, I meditate for about 5 or 10 minutes just to like fully complete my routine and just like fully zone in. It helps me like really, really, really focus and get attentive to what's happening. Because Fly, I'm gonna mute you. Just let me know when you want to talk and I'll unmute you. But when I'm doing my routine, I close it off with a meditation, 5 or 10 minutes. If you are new to meditation, you could start with 5 minutes. At first, it'll be a little loud, but it gets easier over time. But yeah, to answer your question, I do all those things, and then plus I finish it with a meditation, just so I'm fully relaxed and just ready to go. While you're meditating, I don't do it as much as I did before, but you can do breathing exercises while you're meditating, or you can just do it separate. Like you can meditate for 5-10 minutes or whatever, however long you want to do it, and then just take some deep breaths just to like fully come back into yourself, so you can just be locked in and ready. Because what you don't want to do is like I mentioned earlier, being half awake, not being prepared, not being focused. And I'll mention it a little later when it comes to being in the proper state when you're trading.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Cool. You're welcome. Nah, it's all good, Fly. So Swift asked, what would you do to swing trade a small account? Minimum 2-week expiration contracts, any tickers that can make it possible. So yeah, if you're gonna swing a small account, you usually want to look for tickers that have low theta to high, or yeah, like high deltas to low theta ratios. So for example, Coca-Cola is a good one. They usually have pretty high deltas of like 0.30 and higher, with a delta of like maybe 0.02 or 0.03, not even that much. What else? CCL is good. Those have pretty high deltas to low theta. What else? I think, was it MRO? I'll tell you right now. I think MRO, KR, not Oxy, I don't think. Neo, I believe. It's been a while since I traded it. Let's see. Yeah, Neo's pretty good. I'm looking at a 12-day to expiration. Delta is 0.34 and the theta is 0.01. So you get a 0.01, almost 0.02 theta against you per day, and the delta is 0.34. So those would be good to swing. Yeah, usually depending what time frame you take it on, you want to get the appropriate expiration. You don't want to take a trade off a daily time frame and to get like a 2-day to expiration, because you only have 2 days for it to hit. If it doesn't, that trade is done. You always want to give yourself time. If you're going to swing, you can even get monthly contracts, 30 days or more. That'll give you enough time and enough breathing room to let the trade pan out. So MRO, Coca-Cola, NEO, CCL are good ones. Definitely check those out. And do not swing indices, please. Don't swing SPY. Don't swing IWM. Don't swing QQQ. Unless it's a runner position, don't swing it, because it can go very south very fast. Again, this is my opinion. For those people who do that and you succeed, more power to you. But it usually ends up a lot worse than good when you're swinging indices. The theta is way too high and they're too expensive. There's a lot better options out there. And yes, I'm specifically talking about options for the small accounts. Because if you're swinging in general, you can literally swing whatever you want. Like one that I'm looking at that I was telling people about is like Boyle. So Boyle, it finally reversed, what was it, last week? Monday, it finally reversed to the upside. I took it here and I exited here around 680, and then I stopped out the rest once it reversed on me. But you can swing trade anything, regular shares, Forex, options, literally whatever you want. I know people who only swing trade regular stock like equity. They don't swing trade options. It's really whatever works. So, and it's kind of the same thing anyway. Just for equity, you need more capital to make a bigger amount. You're welcome. And yeah, swing trading SPY, it gets really expensive. And to me, it's not worth it when you can be comfy getting hit with like $0.0, like $1 of theta a day, instead of like $50, $60, $70 every day by holding it. That's too much, especially if it doesn't move that much in your favor. Yeah, so for me personally, there are, you can, let me see if I can find an example to show you guys. Let's just say for let's say your max target was like 61 and like the first target is 60.38, 36. You can choose like a near the money if you are at the money contract. For me personally, I usually go in the money just because they're super cheap anyway. You can get like a 14 days of expiration contract for like 0.60 to like 0.70, maybe 0.80, sometimes like $100. And the delta will be like 0.60, 0.70 with like $1 theta. That's super chill. So yeah, you can do at the money, in the money. You can do like 50 cents away, $1 away. Always check its ATR as well and see how much it moves. Because if it's moving almost $1 a day, then I can expect at least within 2 or 3 days, my first target being hit if it's moving in my direction. And you want to absorb as much delta as you can when it goes in your favor. Cool. One thing, I'm going to answer some questions for some people who couldn't make it. And also, I'm going to go through some questions here that will elaborate on that. Somebody asked, I'm not sure if you're in here or not, but somebody asked like the psychology of trading. If you can kind of elaborate more on that, if you are here. If not, I'll do my best to explain it best I can.
Can I ask a really quick question before?
Yeah.
If you want to take a trade, but you're not able to find take profit candle, because usually take profits are the previous candles, but what if like none are there, or you have to scroll really, really, really far back to find previous candles? When is like the cutoff where you're like, this like isn't a valid candle because it was way too far away, or when you like can't find any because I don't know, the moves are so big you just can't like scrolling, like there's no clear previous candles. What do you do in that case to set your take profits?
Well, in those cases, I'll just use the BFs as my target, because you can either use the previous highs or the previous lows of the candle. But with the strat, you're supposed to take it from BF to BF. Like all the in-between noise doesn't really matter. Once I get in here, my first target is going to be this BF there. And then this one. And then I could use the previous high of the candle as well. But you always want to make sure that you draw all your BFs. That way you can use those as targets and know where price is going. Because if I had all of this empty, yeah, you can use the previous candles, but let's say if you don't have your BFs, and what was that? Let's say you don't have your previous BFs, then the price gets here, then it just goes against you. And you're like, all right, why did that happen? Because there was a BF right here that you missed. So you could have taken profit here, and then it would have reversed back on you and probably stopped you at break even. So now, if it's too far away, I'm assuming you're probably talking about like lower time frames. Like let's say if it breaks here, like this low, but there's like no candles in the near vicinity, just use the BFs as your targets. Because, nobody has time to go back like a year or like 6 months to look for the next target candle-wise or the next previous candle pivot. So just use your BFs as your targets. Cool. So boom, and then there, and then keep on bringing it down.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
Of course. So the psychology of trading, I guess the simplest way that I can explain that is basically the other side of the mechanical side of trading. What is the mechanical side? Technical analysis, knowing how to trade, knowing when to get in, when to get out of trade, when to take profit, all that good stuff. The psychology portion is going to be like the mentality and the mindset that you bring towards trading. For example, a lot of people like to get stuck on money when they're trading, but in reality, they don't understand that that's actually on the mental side of trading that's holding them back. They're so stuck with the money that they don't understand that they need to take a step back and really go into their mind and see that that's what's holding them back. Because I can teach you the strat in its entirety, but if you keep on making the same emotional and like the same mental mistakes, you'll never succeed. And I can tell you that 100% even by experience. Because before I became full-time and profitable, I knew how to trade and I was making money, but then I would lose, and then I would lose the money that I would make. But it wasn't until I really sat down and spent time like really training my mind for trading that I started succeeding. Like making my rules, following my rules, understanding why I did specific things. To give an example, I'll touch on this in a bit, but to give an example on like something from the psychological perception or perspective that may be holding you back in your trading is your motivational factors. Some people want to quit their jobs. They want to trade full time and not have to answer to a boss. But understanding that because you have the motivation to quit your job, it's making you be impatient. oh, well, I don't want to wait 2 months to be profitable. I want to be profitable right now. Let me take every single trade that I see on the chart. But that's not helping you because you're over trading. You're taking trades that you don't take. You're not taking proper setups. You're taking any setup that's there that's not even profitable. And then people wonder why they don't succeed, which I'll go into in a bit. But, you know, it's like knowing, to me, the psychological part of trading is also like knowing about yourself. Because what's motivating to me may not be motivational, what may not motivate you. So we may not have the same issues. Yeah, I can talk for hours about this, but hopefully that answered your question. So the psychology of trading literally is just like the mental aspect of it. To me, it's really just like knowing more about yourself, because trading is going to tell you a lot about yourself and a lot of things that you have to fix within yourself when it comes to this. But yeah, this topic in and of itself, like, you know, I can have you guys here for hours going over every single little bit. And whoever asked that, let me know whenever you see this, if that answered your question. Somebody asked also how to deal with pullbacks and swings. Well, pullbacks are going to happen, you know, as long as it doesn't hit your stop loss, then to me, everything is fine. Let's say for the sake of the conversation, I take this reversal on the weekly. If it goes up and then let's say my stop loss is like down here at like 59, like at this BF, and not the BF, let's say 59.50. And then the price triggers and comes down, hangs out here, pulls back, then moves up, pulls back. As long as it doesn't hit my stop loss or my take profit, then there's really nothing to do but wait for one of them to hit. So it's really just practicing patience. And also, don't look at the chart if you're swinging. If you're swinging, literally, cool, I'm going to take profit here. Just set your alert. Perfect. Cool. Maybe I'll take profit here at this pivot. Perfect. Cool. I'm going to stop out down here. Set your alert. All right, cool. My alerts are set. Let me look at something else. Once you get in the trade and you set your alerts, you don't have to babysit anything. Because what you may open yourself up to is getting emotional on the trade, which we definitely don't want to do. We want to limit whatever is going to trigger our emotional responses. Some people, it's easier. Some people, it's a little more difficult. In this case, if you find yourself getting emotional on your swing trades, just set your alerts and do not look at the chart. Let your alerts tell you what to do. Hit your stop, cool. Go on your broker and get out of the trade. If it's your take profit, perfect. Go to your broker, partial out, set a stop loss at break even or wherever you want in profit, and just keep it moving as it goes more in your favor, or if it stops you out. But yeah, what you don't want to do, don't like babysit. Don't babysit your swing trades. They're cooking in the background. Let them do their thing. You staring at the chart is not going to make it go towards your target. I'll tell you that right now. So just let it do its thing. So yeah, set alerts. And don't look at the chart and just wait. And that's all you have to do. If you find yourself getting emotional, practice deep breaths from your belly. That way you can slow down the emotional process and bring back the logical mind. That way you can come back to center and understand that the trade hasn't even panned out yet on either end. And all you have to do is wait. If your analysis was correct, cool. Let your analysis pan out.
Thank you, Desi. That was mine. And
Perfect.
the last part was key. I just have to let it play out. The plan is there. Let it play out. Okay. And it's perfect. Thank you.
Of course. And even like, to me, this is embarrassing for me, but like I have to add a new rule. I think like 2 months ago, like 2 months ago or so, to my rule list. I cannot look at my like swing trades once I'm in it, because I got in a swing trade and then I forgot what I was doing, but the chart I kept the tab open, and it was in the 1 hour chart. I don't know what happened that day, but I was like, oh my God, the 1 hour is reversing. I need to get out of this. And remember, we're all human. Things are gonna happen. You know, it reversed on me on the 1 hour, and I got out for like 20-30% positive in my favor, thankfully. But then the next day, 150% when I hit my target that I wanted. So me babysitting my swing trade messed me up. So not my proudest moments, but I'm like, nope, I'll never do that again. That's going on my rule list. So don't babysit swing trades.
But what if there's news? If it's a swing trade and you're like waiting 1 week, within that week, what if there's news, or are you supposed to take into consideration the news before you get in the trade?
You can do that as well. Sometimes when I was swing Forex, and let's say I may be up, I don't really go by pips, but let's say I'm up, for those who know, like 50-60 pips, which would be considered like 5 or 6 points on ES. At least the way I calculate it anyway, with my leverage. Let's say if I'm up a good amount and it hasn't hit my target, I would just set a stop loss, either near break even, just so I can make some money. Because, you know, when there's big news, you can get huge price swings. So I rather not have a big swing against me and it just plummeting to my stop loss when I'm green. But for me personally, I always take that into consideration. It's of course, it's easier if you are trading like Forex or crypto and things like that, because it's 24/7, or at least like almost 24/7 Forex. But if it's like options, it's a little more, in a way, it's a little more challenging, just because you can't get in or out until the market opens. But it's always good to have that in mind. When it comes to swings, just, you know, if you're, for me, I kind of just leave it there. If news hits, it is what it is. I just let it pan out until my stop loss or my take profit is hit. If you're really, really worried about it, then just put a stop loss at break even if you're up a decent amount. Swift asked, what advice would you give an indicator dependent trader whom is transitioning into the strat ways? I would give you the advice that I myself did. I used to be Mr. EMA, freaking 9, 12, 50, 200, MACD, VWAP, oscillator, I think the awesome oscillator, TTM squeeze, shit, it was RSI. Literally just remove them off your chart and just like start fresh and just focus on price action. Because for me, you know, for some people, it might be a little harder, because for me, all those indicators confused me. One would say long, one would say short. It would just super confuse me. So learning the strat was like the best thing that ever happened to me, because this to me is like perfect. I don't have to worry about a billion indicators all over my screen. Yeah, you got your BFs, but, you know, sue me. To me, the strat is super simple, because all the indicators are based on what price is doing anyway. So just focus, just like erase all, like get rid of all your indicators, just strat, broader informations, learn the way price moves, and go from there. Because some people like to remix the strat, like, oh, I'm gonna add the 9 and 12 EMA and do this and that, and like, you know, it may not, you're selling yourself short because you're not even using it properly. So yeah, in that case, always follow the strat, essentially how it's made and like how it was designed to be used. Do I have a price action video or recommend one? not that I can think off the top of my head. I think in the Discord, in the intro to the Strat one, I think there's one with like, I think Strat Soldier. I forget his name or what he goes by, if any other aliases. But his is pretty good, explaining Strat stuff. Ultimately, whenever you guys can, just literally just get Rob Smith course, because like, you know, there's nothing better than to see it from the man himself. I know Rob does have some like videos explaining the basics and things like that of the Strat. I might have it in the Strat section in the Discord. If not, just like look up like Rob Smith, the Strat, man, I'm pretty sure some videos will pop up with him in it, or him like explaining it. And you can always go there. Cool. Let me answer probably one more, and then I'll get into what I was going to mention. So somebody mentioned also, well, over trading is pretty simple. It's really just, well, I'll just tie over trading back into what I'm going to say after this. Analysis paralysis, somebody mentioned that. Again, this just goes, this is, there's two things that I'll recommend for this. Number one, if you have 1 billion indicators, get rid of them because they're just confusing you. That's what happened to me. I will get analysis paralysis. Oh my God, the RSI is saying long, the MACD is saying long, but the 50, but it's under the 50 EMA or the 200 or whatever it is, or the 9 EMA crossed under the 15 or the 12 or whatever. So it's like it's conflicting indicators, which like messed me up. I wouldn't know what to do. So get rid of your indicators, focus on price and reading candles. Candlestick Bible, excellent to learn different candle patterns. And also, if you get analysis paralysis in the sense of like you charted the trade out, you're just waiting for the trigger, and then once it triggers, you just like freeze up. Remember, well, I guess I can talk about a little bit like the psychology of trading in this aspect, but our brain is designed to keep us safe against uncertain situations, and everything when it comes to trading is uncertain. There's only probability in trading. We don't know 100% if it's going to hit our target. It can be 80% to hit our target, but you still have the 20% that it might not go for you. So you always want to, I forgot where I was going with this. You always want to, wow, I completely forgot the train that I was on. You always want to focus on like understanding that it's just probability. It's either going to hit your target or it's not. And if your setup is valid and it's, you know, you've seen it work multiple times, then just trade it. Because there's like, even my best setups I get stopped out of. It's just the name of the game. I'm gonna get stopped out. None of my trades are 100%. It's just making sure that you always take them. And also, I remember what I was saying. So our mind, again, is not built for anything uncertain. So our mind is you're gonna get triggered emotionally and all that stuff. And our brain is gonna do whatever it can, our emotional mind, to get us to stop doing what it is that we're doing in any way. Not only that, but for those who've seen my emotional intelligence webinar, you know what I'm talking about, but in the sense of money is safety. It's our food, it's our home, it's our, you know, our bed, it's like safety for us. So not only are we trading in an uncertain environment when it comes to the market, we're also using what keeps us safe in our brain's perspective, or in our mind's perspective. So if not only are you trading uncertainty, but you're also using what keeps us safe. So our brain is going to do anything it can to make you not engage in that activity. It'll cause you to be fearful. It'll cause you to get emotional, to to not even take the trade and do everything it can, tell you all these things in your head. Oh, but if you get in, it might stop you out. Let's not actually take the trade. And then it goes in your favor and then you get upset, or many other things. So yeah, with analysis paralysis, definitely remove some indicators if you get conflicting readings. Also practice breathing exercises, deep breaths from your belly. That way you can just slow down the emotional process and bring back the logical one, where you understand that, you know, it's either going to hit your profit targets or it's not. It is what it is. You can't do anything about that. We have no control over the markets, but the actions that we take. Always keep that in mind. And cool, whoever answered that or asked that, when you see this, let me know if that answered your question. Cool. So I'll go over, I guess, like my lesson relatively quickly since we're already at the end. But the biggest thing that I want to talk about, just to reiterate, is risk management. I've seen a lot of people still not practicing that. They're like, oh, I'm up 2,000. Oh, damn, I lost it the very next day. You always want to practice risk management, because in the trading business, as I always like to put it, you need to survive. And you survive by protecting your capital. Now, if you're using 80, 50, 80%, even 100% of your account in one trade, you take a 50% haircut, not even a haircut, you take a 50% loss on that trade, you're losing half your account. You take another one, now you lost 75% of your account. You take another one, about 80, 85% of your account in 3 trades or 3 to 4 trades. So you always want to practice proper risk management, and you'll see it in my watch list and other people's watch lists. Size accordingly, use proper risk management. Like for myself, I only use 10% of my account when I'm day trading and in swings. And usually I won't take a trade if it'll lose more than 2.5% of my account. That means I have at least 50 losing trades in a row until my account blows up, which of course will never happen, because again, I'm very, very, very picky with the trades that I take. I'm not taking every single trade in the book. If it, like I said, if it will go over more than 2.5% of my account, I don't take it. On average, I don't take trades that'll lose me anywhere between, like, I would say like about 1 to 1.8% of my account, which is usually about 10 to 20% loss on the trade if I'm trading options anyway. So always, always, always practice risk management. Now, if you do have a smaller account, you could maybe be a little more aggressive, maybe 15% of your account. But for me personally, 15% will be like the max that I would ever do. But for me, 10% is comfy. What else? This ties into like focusing on the process and not the money. I've had people come up to me and be like, hey, look at this plan that I have. I'm going to take 20% every time a trade goes in my favor. Then I'll use that to grow my account. Well, it's like, all right, cool. That's great. But what are you doing to make sure that you don't keep on failing the way you have? If that makes sense, because they've been so focused on the money portion, they forgot on the fundamentals. Because I can be like, yeah, you want to make money? Take 20% off at every trade that you take. Cool, but how are you doing that? And how are you going to avoid like over trading and controlling yourself? What emotional regulation skills do you have to make sure that you don't keep on messing up in those aspects? So always remember, focus on the process and building a proper foundation and a proper system, and you're good. If you don't journal, that's a problem. Start journaling. Cool. So the last thing that I'll say for now, and I'll give you guys a quick exercise that you can practice offline. And for those who are looking at this, it's very, very important to practice mindfulness in trading, because we need to know what is triggering us to make our mistakes, whatever they may be. Like I mentioned earlier with the motivational factors in trading. All right, well, are you motivated to leave your job? Cool. Now you're over trading. Now you're forcing trades. You're not being patient because you're so focused on just leaving your job. You're not being mindful about your actions that you're taking in your trading. Another thing is practicing and like being mindful of even your physical patterns while you're trading before it gets too late. For example, I'm sure everybody here has been there, including myself. You make a bonehead mistake and like you just like overtrade, like you do 10 trades in a row and like you lost 8 of them, just trying to get back what you lost. And then after the fact, you're like, oh my God, what was I thinking? Like I would never do that. But that's where it comes back to being mindful before you get to that point and knowing your physical patterns and also your emotional patterns and your thought patterns. Like, what are you telling yourself? What are you saying? I'll give you some examples, even like for myself. When I will like feel the emotional trigger, whether it be like fear, getting upset, whatever it may be, physically, it would start by me like getting locked in and like having tunnel vision on the chart and not even blinking and not like breathing properly. I'm like breathing shallowly, very shallow from my chest. So I'm like locked in. I'm vice gripping my mouse. But now if I ever catch myself, or when I catch myself, oh, cool, I'm getting tunnel vision. That's telling me that I'm about to get the emotional process now where I start getting fearful or whatever it may be. And then as soon as I take note of that, cool, breathing exercises, closing my eyes. This actually was taught to me by Randy Howell. I'm working with him now. He uses this thing where it's like let me see if I could find the proper term for it. He calls it the safe place generation, which is essentially just mentally taking yourself to a place that makes you feel safe. Is it your comfy bed? Is it, I don't know, somewhere outside in the park, on the beach, a vacation spot, whatever it may be, to get your focus off of the charts and what you're doing. Because when we're stuck on the chart, we're going to continuously be fed and get triggered from it. So we need to remove ourselves from what's happening on the charts and just take ourselves somewhere else. So you can use that as a technique. For those who've been in other things that I've done, you know that I love box breathing because one, it makes you focus on what you're doing. You have to count in each cycle. You have to close your eyes and it shuts you off from what's happening. That way you're in a different place and then you can work through those emotional events when they come up for you. And let me know if this is making sense before I continue. Give me a yes in the chat. Cool. So yeah, just being mindful of all your patterns, even giving some other examples, like how I mentioned earlier, me not trading in bed, because I used to literally wake up, take a trade. Oh, why am I not making money? Well, it's because I'm trading sleepy. So now every time I'm sleepy, cool, I'm not going to trade. I would rather end the day at 0 because I didn't trade because I was tired than feel the need to trade because I need to make money, but I'm tired. And then I probably will end up red because I'm tired. So being mindful of all those things and the thought patterns, like, even that, what I just mentioned, feeling the need to trade every day. You don't need to trade every day at all. It's better to have 3 good days than trading 5 days in a row and having only 2 good days. And then your red days probably took most of the profit, if not all of it, from your green days, just because you felt or you thought that you needed to trade every day, which you don't. So always be mindful of that, and like your patterns and things that you're doing that are messing you up. Let me just stop sharing because we're done with charts for now. So yeah, just bringing it back to that, always remembering it's like, be mindful of your patterns and what you're doing that's continuously affecting your trading. For this, it will require some honesty on, and like even some introspection on yourself, which a lot of people don't like to do and admit to themselves. It's always easier to blame other things. Oh yeah, I lost money because of the chart. Oh, because Powell, because this, because that. But nobody told you. Powell wasn't there behind you on your computer taking the trade for you. You're the one who traded during him talking, and then you lost money because you did that. So just bringing it back to being mindful of the things that you do and just being honest with yourself. Where am I not showing up properly in my trading or in my life that's causing me to mess up in my trading? To give you guys a quick little practice that you can take home, I call this, well, I don't really have a cool sounding name, but this is the pattern breaking exercise. So it's 3 things that you're going to go over. The first thing that you're going to do, you can do 5 to 10. I usually make my students do 10. And this is, well, like I just mentioned, this is something that I have my students do, and I'll share it with you guys. The first part of this pattern changing exercise, let me bring it up real quick. Bear with me. Cool. There's 3 parts to this. The first one, what are 10 reasons why you must change this pattern? Number 2, this is going to be eye-opening for a lot of people who don't like doing this. What is it costing you by not changing these patterns? And number 3, what are the great things that will happen or that will occur when you change these patterns? And then you can write this down as well. You change your life when you change your patterns. You want to stop blowing up your accounts? Cool. Stop full porting. Stop revenge trading. Stop going all in. Stop trading ER or earnings with a full port, thinking you're going to make 10,000% the next day. So what are the 10 things, or what are the 10 reasons you must change this pattern? Number 1. Number 2, what is it costing you by not changing these patterns? Number 3, what are the great things that will happen or occur when you do change these patterns? And then do that exercise, and then whatever you write down, start working on those things. Cool. Let's say, for example, a reason that I must change this pattern. Well, I want to be profitable in my trading. I want to become a better trader. There's a bunch of reasons. I want to be more alert when I'm trading, or whatever it may be. What is it costing me by not being alert and focused on my trading? Well, I'm taking stupid trades, over leveraging, not analyzing the chart properly, etc. What are the great things that will happen when I sleep better or practice, do my morning routine, whatever it may be? Well, I can analyze the chart better. I can focus better. I can do all that stuff better. Remember, you change your life when you change the pattern. And this could be, and you can use this exercise not only with trading, but literally with anything in life. Let me know if all that made sense. Perfect. Cool. All righty. So since we are at the end and went a little over for this session, before we end, what is everybody's biggest takeaway? Or what was the biggest thing that stood out to you?
For me, it was don't look at my charts after I put my swing in and set my alerts. I'm not looking
Yeah,
at that
definitely.
chart no more. I'm good.
Definitely not. Thank you for sharing. Anyone else? Come off mute, put in the chat, whatever you like.
For me, basically, was even if you have all the fundamentals down, like how to use the strat while trading, if you don't have your emotions in check, you won't ever become consistently profitable. So you need to take care of both sides. Definitely like how to trade, but then like also how like to mentally prepare yourself, I guess.
100%. Absolutely.
Hey, you hear me?
Yep, I can hear you.
Yeah, I'll say it's for me, it's like the importance of broadening formations and just pretty much, paying attention to them. And
100%.
with them, yeah.
You always want to use the strat fully. You don't want to like half-ass it or like half strat, as you might have heard before.
Oh yeah, I second that about what he said about broadening formations. That would have probably been my biggest takeaway too, because when you showed that trade, it literally hit exactly like it told you when to enter exactly and when to take profit exactly, and it was right like on both ends. So like it's the importance of correctly knowing how to draw broadening formations, because not just drawing them, but drawing them right.
Absolutely. Yeah, like I get it. It's confusing at first, but with everything, it just takes practice. And the more you do it, the easier it is. And also, I get it. It's time consuming to draw your BFs, but I rather spend 2 hours drawing all my BFs on a symbol or on a ticker or stock than blindly trading and figuring out why it's hitting these random points and like or rejecting and going against me at specific points and being blind. Swift said,
You're muted, Desi.
oh, whoops, my mistake. Thank you. I went to mute somebody, muted myself instead. That's embarrassing. So Swift said, finding scanners for setups, swings on tickers with high delta and low thetas, set it and forget it. Absolutely. And finally, pretty much starting from scratch, get a naked chart, learning price action and learning what the charts are telling you. Absolutely. Definitely glad all of that resonated with you guys. Thank you all again for coming out. The replay will be up probably later tonight. I'll schedule it after it uploads. But yeah, thank you all again for coming out. I will definitely see you all in the next one. For those who are new, as always, you can literally, the same link that you use to sign up for this one is going to be the same exact one for every single one moving forward. So you can just save that link anywhere and even preemptively sign up for the future ones. Then you already have the link ready to go. Cool. And you're very welcome.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Have a good night, everyone. Get some rest. CPI this week, so get ready for that. And I'll talk to you all later. Peace.